In chapter 15 of The Mandalorian, titled The Believer, Din Djarin once again teams up with Migs Mayfeld, a character from season 1 that nobody really cared for, a typical bad guy that only looked out for himself. Yet this time it would be different. Let's get into why the surprising actions of Mayfeld created one of the best moments in the series.
Mayfeld? Hey, Mando.
With Mayfeld having betrayed Mando before, and Mando then putting Mayfeld in prison as an act of revenge, it wasn't going to be a happy reunion. As they laid eyes on each other, the bad blood between them was difficult to miss. Yet when Mayfeld learns that this mission is about the cute little kid he met in season 1, a hint of sympathy appeared on his face.
They have his kid.
The little green guy?
What made season 1 and partly season 2 of The Mandalorian popular was obviously Grogu. Sure, he was beyond adorable to watch, however that's not why he stood out to me. Rather, it was always interesting to see the other point of view, how this green fella affected everybody around him, with Din Djarin himself being the most noticeable example.
Don't be afraid.
Their bond and how it evolved truly carried the series. Both of them had lived a tough life, with their true feelings buried within and behind a helmet, with Grogu hiding his Force abilities and Mando not really showing any feelings at all. They had created their own rules, their own code to survive the harsh world around them. That changed when they met, because their dynamic made Din and Grogu challenge each other's worldviews, and from my perspective that's when the series became interesting. Before, Din was a loner, somebody that blindly followed the Creed's words because it was the only sort of purpose he had in life. But with Grogu he got shown something else, that sometimes it might even be worth it to bend the strict rules he had lived by, and that's when Mayfeld once again joins the picture.
Alright, you know what? I'm taking this thing off. I can't see anything. I don't know how you people wear those things. And by you people, I do mean Mandalorians.
Just like Grogu, in this episode, Mayfeld keeps challenging Mando and his beliefs, but this bald, annoying guy does it out of spite rather than the innocent way Grogu does. And even if Mayfeld's intentions aren't for the better, rather to bring up a touchy subject for the fun of it, you can't ignore the point he's trying to make.
Seems to me like your rules start to change when you get desperate. I mean, look at you. You said you couldn't take your helmet off, and now you got a stormtrooper one on, so what's the rule?
He brings to light something Mando absolutely doesn't want to talk about. That he has kind of already broken the rules because of this tricky and desperate situation. That the creed he has devoted his life to no longer stands as his highest priority. And I think that realization scares him. Not because he has gone against the code, but because he begins to recognize that there might be more than one way to live. And what if Mando's way has been the wrong one?
Do you really think all those people that died in wars fought by Mandalorians actually had a choice? So how are they any different than the Empire? Look, if you were born on Mandalore, you believe one thing. If you're born on Alderaan, you believe something else. But guess what? Neither one of them exist anymore.
Mayfeld is very much your typical everyday person. Your normal dude, former employed by the Empire that has come to the realization that life is unfair and extremely hard. He isn't particularly happy, lives paycheck to paycheck, doing bounty hunter jobs before ultimately ending up in prison. I wouldn't call him a bad person, or a villain for that matter, rather like he so openly puts it himself.
Hey, I'm just a realist. I'm a survivor, just like you.
This conversation between the two adds so much to the world of Star Wars. It highlights the harsh reality of the galaxy far, far away that often gets overlooked. The billions of common people who are merely spectators of the everlasting conflict between good versus evil, Sith versus Jedi, or Empire versus Rebellion. The list goes on and on.
Empire, New Republic. It's all the same to these people. And Invaders on their land is all we are.
It's the brutal honesty and quite sensible logic by Mayfeld that leads the way for Mando in this episode, that plants a seed of doubt in the back of his head about the purpose of living under rules you never really questioned and existing in a world you never actually reflected about. It's the mix of the extreme love for this child, Mayfeld's vocal opinions, and the dire position they find themselves in that makes Din Djarin do the forbidden, that makes him go against the philosophy he has stood behind since a very young age, that makes him take off the helmet and show his face.
10 seconds to system shutdown. 10, 9, 8, 7.
It truly is a momentous act, developed since the very beginning of the show. It's beautiful, honorable, and one of the most underrated moments in the series. Yet the scenery quite quickly changed from a heroic one to total panic. And I'm mostly talking from the perspective of Mayfeld here.
What's your name, officer?
We just call him Brown Eyes. Isn't that right, officer? Come on, let's go fill out those TPS reports so we can go recharge the power coil.
You're not dismissed.
As much as Mando throughout the episode built up an internal crisis that eventually had to be dealt with, his companion in crime had, by mostly talking to a quiet Din Djarin, done the same. And when the disgusting Imperial officer makes an entrance, memories from a deep buried past became too much to handle for poor Mayfeld.
Everybody thinks they want freedom. But what they really want is order. And when they realize that, they're gonna welcome us back with open arms.
It's some of the best acting in the entire series by Bill Burr, and a twist I didn't see coming at all. The war had, as seen in this very moment, created an enormous burden for this character, something nobody could have figured out in the season 1 episode when we met him for the first time.
I wasn't a stormtrooper, wise ass.
It's such a great example of how you can make a pretty boring individual interesting, and how to use a character to elevate others. In reality, it's a very simple episode, not that much happens. They travel to one planet, pick up Mayfeld, travels to the next and finishes the mission. Of course, that's pretty overview, but my point is that it doesn't matter that the story is simple. What instead is important is the build-up, the emotions, and the use of the characters involved.
We all need to sleep at night.
The Believer is emotionally powerful, a textbook model for future Star Wars content, and one of my favorite episodes of The Mandalorian. I hope we will get more of a Migs Mayfeld someday, and let me know what you think about this character and this chapter in the comment section below. Here you can watch another Star Wars video about The Mandalorian. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you'll have a great day.